righty, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Beer Thoughts with Josh. Tonight is a special episode, believe it or not, as you can tell. I have a brand new person right next to me. This is my father-in-law, Steve. He has decided and so graciously granted me with his presence to be here on Beer Thoughts tonight.
Hey, let's quit giving the audience a little BS here.
That's my job, that's what I'm good at. So, we're going to just jump right in and start off with our beer for the night. Steve, what'd you bring me?
Hey, I'm a really cask guy, and I'm into bourbon. So I happen to be, I'm normally an IPA guy. But in my older days, I used to love Bock. So when I saw this, it's Bock from the Schmaltz Brewing Company in Clifton, New York. And, Josh, it is a lager aged in bourbon barrels, Imperial American Bock.
Oh my goodness. Steve,
it is awesome.
Me. Holy cow. Well, we're going to crack this thing open. We're going to get right to it.
It takes care of my bourbon and takes care of my beer needs. Okay?
Oh my word. Well, let's get right to it.
You bet.
Perfect.
That's good. Save
That'll
some for yourself.
You. Absolutely. Pouring in that flute there.
Ooh, good Bock nose on this thing.
All righty.
A lot of caramel.
We'll put that right there for everyone to see. Ooh, a little bit of foam there.
Yeah. Where'd you learn how to pour that
I know,
stuff?
that was a poor pour on my part.
You bet. You got mine right at least.
Prost to you. Absolutely.
And give it a smell, though, man. Check this out. Now, I will tell you, in checking this out, this has been aged in 3 different bourbon barrels.
Ooh, do tell.
It's been aged in Jim Beam, Heavenly Hill Bourbon, and Buffalo Trace, which is one of my favorites. So,
wow,
3 times, and the good smelling Bock. Now, I'm going to give it a nice little taste.
Nice nose, all you out there.
Ooh. Considering it was sitting in 3 different bourbon barrels, it doesn't have a really strong bite, but it really has a nice finish. Smooth.
Extremely smooth.
Yes.
I'm really impressed. And this comes from, what was it again?
Schmaltz
Brewing Company out of New York.
Now, one of the other things I want to pass on, a couple of things. They used, and I was checking out the internet about that, they used 3 different European malts in making this too.
Whoa.
So they use Vienna, Munich, and Crystal malts.
Goodness gracious. So I can taste that.
It really does have that good German Bock flavor.
Absolutely.
So malty, which is not normally my style, but now I'm kind of reverting back to my old days. And now I feel about maybe 20 years younger when I used to drink more Bock beer, right?
I'm impressed. Truly, everyone out there, if you can get your hands on this Bock, that's pretty darn tasty. Beer Advocate, it gives it a 3.72, right, Steve?
Well, actually, they rated it an 83.
83?
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
So, overall, an 83 out of 100.
That is not bad at all.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Now, it's got an ABU, and ABU is what?
The ABV?
ABV, right. I wrote it. My V looks like a U.
Close enough.
It's late night when I was writing this down.
If I remember, the ABV is about a 9.2. So
yeah, it is. Be
careful. As many of you know, ABV is the alcoholic content that you find in any sort of alcoholic beverage. 9.2 that's pretty hefty for a beer.
Now,
but
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it. Oh, but it's so tasty with the bourbon barrels and the 3 different kinds.
Yeah.
And oh my word, it's smooth.
So the other part is I found it interesting for all of you people that are interested in healthy living. Beer is a good, healthy thing. We were talking earlier tonight about darker beers. It's supposed to be better for your health. If you're doing a 12-ounce, they say there's only 276 calories. Now, if you're drinking that 95-calorie stuff, I guess it's a lot. But if you're not worried about it, 276 in calories.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Now, I do have to ask you, Steve. So after talking about it a little bit, tasting it a little bit, what do you give it? 1 out of 5. What do you give Bock from Schmaltz Brewing?
I give it at least a 3.5.
3.5. You hear it here, folks. About a 3.5 from Steve. I'm gonna go with about a 3.8.
Okay.
I'm a
Why?
big fan. It definitely, the nose was phenomenal, a lot
Yeah.
smoother than I expected. However, it didn't quite have that kick that I'm used to.
Yeah.
With a 9.2, I mean the Bock, like, delicious. It has that malty notes. It definitely a little bit of hop in there, but it's not. At least for me, when I think Bock, I think caramel.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have enough caramel for me.
No, it
But-
doesn't have as much sweet. That's why I got it at 3.5.
Absolutely.
It actually has a little bit of bitterness, but it's not a hoppy bitterness, which is what you would think. Actually, in the rating, they don't even give it a hop rating on this thing.
It doesn't at all. Really?
No.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, cheers to you.
Yep.
Truly,
Now,
absolutely delicious.
One last thing, and I know we need to talk about this other stuff, and we have limited time. But when I was doing my research, and I know I shared with you, but I want to share it with the people out there. If you go to the Schmaltz Brewing Company and you look at their website, and you look at the kind of other beers that they offer, it is phenomenal on the kind of things that they do offer. So, I'm a big guy about. I got a number of Jewish friends, and I love the way that they market their beer.
That's so.
So-
give me some of the names. here.
Okay, so they have a beer out there that's called Hops Manna. So as manna is going through the desert with Moses, right?
For all you Bible lovers.
Yes, they have a Messiah Nut Brown.
Oh my gosh.
They have a Hanukkah in July, and they also have a Hanukkah beer for the holidays.
Ooh.
They have a Jubilation 22. But the one I found very interesting, and I'd love to be able to find this, is a Pastrami Pilsner.
Wait. What?
A Pastrami
Pastrami
Pilsner.
All
Now,
right.
According to this, the Pastrami Pilsner is brewed with kosher salt, cracked black pepper, mustard seed, and ground caraway seed, which is the spices that you would do to pickle the meat for pastrami.
All right.
So I'd love to be able to find it. Didn't have it at the store where I'm at. They had this, but they didn't have the Pastrami Pilsner.
You heard it here first, everyone. Schmaltz Brewery. I'm totally gonna get my hands on a pastrami pilsner.
And if you're a Star Trek fan, they also have a whole Star Trek series of beers.
Yes. This is
So-
that's my kind of place. I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
thanks for sharing that. Steve.
Interesting joint
Absolutely.
and very good beer.
Amen to that. I'll join you. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Our segment, we always do, of course, our deep thought for the night, deep question. Tonight, Steve, I want to pose something to you. We talked about it a little bit beforehand. This actually is a question that I delved into with my good friends Brian Bristol and Nolan McMurray. We had actually a couple of beers over this question, so I want to thank you guys so much for bringing this about. Tonight, Steve, in the general conception of life, I understand that it's a great thing to be a mixture of all things.
Yep.
But if you were posed this question, which one would you choose? And the question is it best to be a skeptic, an optimist, or a realist, and why?
So you should pose that question to yourself, but my answer is I would be more of a realist.
Expand on that.
Okay, so I work in executive role at a large hospital. I'm the head of human resources for a hospital chain, and one of the deals I do with my staff, I play devil's advocate all the time. And if you're a devil's advocate, you're trying to get to the reality of how things work. So someone would come and say, well, what about this? And you're always trying to get to what the effect is going to be if you do what you said you're going to do. So you think through what the reality of life is going to be when you're trying to solve a problem. So in human resources, if they're trying to say, well, we should deal with disciplining this employee a certain way, I say, well, what do you think would happen if you did that? And then we talk through all the different scenarios and come up with the best way to handle it in real life.
I like that. That's a really good point. Then can I ask you, expanding on that a little bit, where do you find the pitfalls within optimism or skepticism? Is
Okay.
that
Well, in some cases, being a realist, you can also be an optimist.
That's
Because
true.
in some ways, I'd like to think of myself being more positive dealing with employees and things in my job. Is that as I'm trying to figure out the best way to handle the situation, we're dealing with the realization of what's the best way to deal with this in person, not what's the worst way. So I'm also being an optimist at the same time. Now, I don't want to be a skeptic because a skeptic has a tendency to only look at the negative and not see what can really, really happen. And the issue is that, to me, in my mind at least, if somebody is trying to be a skeptic, they haven't thought about, when they really go out and do this, what is the outcome. And they may be surprised in most cases. Now, they may not be surprised. It may be a negative event, and it comes out that way. But in the end, if they haven't thought through it, they won't hit the realization of what really will happen.
I like that.
Then it's kind of like, surprise!
Oh, no! Oh, my gosh.
Like a surprise on some of the beers that you've
exactly.
over
And we'll have plenty of those in episodes to come. I can promise you that.
You bet.
Well, hey, Steve, I appreciate that. That's awesome. And please take what Steve said, expand on it. Also, I want to hear other arguments. Many of you might out there think, it's better to be an optimist. Maybe it is better to be a skeptic. I don't know. Please comment. Let me know. I love reading all of your comments, you guys. It has been incredible to see what everyone has to say out there. And please continue. I encourage you. Share this video. Let everyone that you know just pass this video along, please. Let them know that I do this. I love doing this. It's a fun hobby of mine, and I get to have incredible people like my awesome father-in-law here on this show.
And if you like a Bock, definitely try this. Even though
Amen.
we rated it below 4, it's still a great beer.
Still darn good. Bock,
All
Bock,
right.
and Schwartz. Amen.
There you go.
Well, hey, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. God bless you guys. And as always, keep changing lives one beer at a time, all right? Steve, thank you so much.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
Amen. God bless you all. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.